Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm a missionary with IAM, currently working and living in Sierra Leone, Africa, to help provide clean water and both living water to those in need. Today, I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about the fundraising tracking sheet that you've been given and how to use it. Of course, all of these suggestions are very flexible. You're more than welcome to change whatever you need to fit your needs, but this fundraising sheet will really give you a good shell to begin with, and it will really help you track your growth and your success as you fundraise for your mission. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. When you click the link that is included in the packet, it's going to take you to this fundraising sheet. You cannot actively edit on this because it's the shared version that every single person opens. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go here to File. You're going to hit Make a Copy. You can name it whatever you want to name it. I'm going to name it Elizabeth's Fundraising. Okay. And you're going to hit Make a Copy. This will automatically create a copy of this document in your Google Drive that you are able to edit and only you are able to see. So there is two things that you need to do in order to set this sheet up to match your goals. The first thing that you need to do is to change the actual amount of support that is needed for every single missionary, depending on where they're going, how long they're going to be there, how big their family is. They have different goals. Sometimes you're trying to raise it all in monthly support. Sometimes you split it up so you have one-time support needed because some of the startup costs are a little bit higher versus monthly support needed to continue doing your mission once you are on site. So let's just say that to be in Sierra Leone, I need $2,300 in monthly support. And my one-time support that I need, let's say $7,000. So if you change this in these two cells, you will not have to go into any of the equations to change the information. It references those cells. So that should update the whole entire sheet for you. The next thing that you're going to want to update is to help set your goals here, you need to have like a target date for your departure. This obviously doesn't need to be very set in stone, but just think about when would you like to depart? What would your goal date be? And you can set it. The way that you set it is you're going to go here to weeks left and months left. And you can see in the equation bar, we have a date set. So right now it's November 8th of 2023. I'm going to change it to be the 1st of January 25th of 2023. And I'm going to do the same thing in this other cell. So the first, just put whatever your date is, month, day, and then year. There you go. So now it knows how many weeks we have left and how many months we have left until our desired goal for departing. So those are what you need to do to set up your document. Now let's talk a little bit about how you're going to use this sheet and the tools that it has for you. So we can start on this summary page because it's a good place to start. Here obviously is your overall goals. This is your information. So this will track how many donors you have. Obviously, like we just talked about, your weeks left until your departure, your months left until your departure. It'll show you your total raised monthly, and then how much you have left to raise monthly. It'll show you how much you've raised in one-time donations and how much you have left for your goal in one-time donations. You can also see that visually over here on our little pie charts. So for monthly, we have some inputs that I'll show you in a minute. We're 21% fundraised, and for one time, we're 4% fundraised. So this will just visually help you see when you hit 50%, how much you have left and stuff like that. Next, we have the monthly donation goals. So basically, this takes what you have left to fundraise versus how much time you have left and gives you goals to meet every single week. So you have how much you need to raise weekly, how much you need to raise monthly. And then lastly is donors weekly. You're going to make a contact list, which we'll talk about in a second. And this donors weekly basically just says, in order for you to contact everybody that is on your contact list, you need to reach out to X amount of people per week. So for example, if I make a list of everybody that I know and it's 100 people, in order to contact every single person in 10 weeks, I'm going to need to reach out to 10 people per week. And that can be a goal I set for myself. So I say, okay, it's Friday. I haven't reached out to anybody. I need to reach out to at least 10 people because that's what I know I need to do. Okay, and then lastly, this is your donor status chart. So as you're tracking the people you reach out to, you can change their status to contacted, uncontacted, TBD, which basically means you've talked to them, but they haven't donated. And then this last one here is number of thank you cards. Once somebody donates, you need to send them a thank you card. So this is just a little place where you can track donor status. So now let's go into contacts where we talk about how we track those donor statuses. So this sheet is a great first starting place for your mission. What you want to do is you're going to want to make a list of basically every single person you possibly could think of to ask to support your mission. So here I just have two examples. It's myself, obviously. Roswell Methodist, which is my home church. We can make an example called Joe Schmo. It's helpful to collect contact information here. You've got options for email, phone, and address. And then sometimes if you have multiple groups, you've got your mom's friends, maybe you have your wife or husband's family versus your family. This is just helpful to keep track of there. Then for contacted, you've got two options. You've got no and you've got yes. If it's no, it's going to turn red because that means you haven't spoken to them about your mission. Once you've contacted them, you can go in there and change it to yes, and it will turn it to green. So for the most part, when you make this list, you can go ahead, select no, and drag it down because chances are you're not going to have to talk to anybody on the list yet because you're just getting started. Now, after you have talked to somebody, you change their status to yes. But sometimes they might not donate immediately. People are busy, they forget, you'll talk to them, they'll seem interested, but they won't actively donate, right? That's when you can mark them as to be determined, right? So that means that you've spoken to them, you think they're interested in donating, but they haven't actually followed up and done that yet. Once they have donated, you can change their status to a donor. And then, of course, under the circumstance that they decide they don't want to support you, you can just change it to not a donor. So once somebody donates and you've set their status as donor, we and I really encourage writing thank you cards and sending them in the mail. Snail mail is not dead. It's a great way to let your supporters know that you care enough to sit down, write a letter, and mail it to them. Thank you cards, I think, are really a great way to keep the relationship with your donors up and let them know that you haven't forgotten that they're giving to you. So once somebody becomes a donor, you can set their thank you card status to no, which means that you haven't written it yet. So maybe you have a really crazy week and you end up getting 6 different donations, but you haven't written any of their thank you notes. So let's see here. You have 4 people that have donated, but you haven't written thank you notes. If we go back to our summary sheet, you can see right here that it says number of thank you cards you need to write is 4. If you let the thank you cards stack up, it's going to be like a huge task. So when I was fundraising, I really tried to make sure that I never let that number get over about 10 people at a time, because then it became like a lot of work. If you try to write thank you cards every 1 to 2 weeks, you'll stay on top of it and it really won't be that big of a deal. Okay, so then coming to these last 2 categories. A lot of times people genuinely want to support you, but they're busy, they're working, they've got families, and they forget. So you may talk to them at church, you may get coffee with them, you may send them an email, but when you get your monthly report from IAM, you don't see their name on the donor list. So this will help us to track when we have contacted people. So basically, when you talk to someone, you want to come in here and you're going to put the date down. So I'll put, today is September 19th. So I'll say that I reached out to this person on September 10th of 2022. So you can see here that it says I have 9 days since I've last contacted them. Now, if you look above, if I had contacted them on September 4th of 2022, all of a sudden this cell turns red. Basically, if the time since you've contacted somebody goes beyond 2 weeks, the cell will turn red, indicating that you should follow up with them. 2 weeks is plenty of time for somebody to follow up and to donate. So if you talk to your Aunt Betty and she hasn't donated to you yet, but it's been 2 weeks, you may want to shoot her a text, shoot her an email, give her a call, and just follow up. So this makes sure that people that you talk to but didn't necessarily donate don't get forgotten. If you talk to people one time and then you never follow up with them, you're going to be missing out on a ton of donations, because the amount of people that remember to do this the very first time you ask is surprisingly slim, because people are busy and life is happening. So that is the contact sheet. The last sheet I want to talk about here is our partner sheet. So this is where you're going to put people's names once they have donated to your mission. So at the end of every month, you'll get a report from IAM. You basically want to transfer the names from that report onto this sheet. But in addition, if somebody tells you, hey, thank you so much for talking to me, I've signed up to donate $25 a month. you can put them on here before you get that report, so you've got a better idea of where you're sitting at. So if we look at an example, let's say that me, Elizabeth McDonald, I am donating $50 monthly. And let's say that I told you this, but you haven't gotten Fabulous report yet. You're going to set confirmed as no, because I could have told you and I meant to go do the form, but I didn't actually do the form. And you always want to make sure before you're counting somebody's money, before you're counting on somebody's money, you want to make sure that it's really actually being donated to IAM, right? So in this case, you would put it in when I tell you, and then at the end of the month, when you get your report, you're just going to cross check and make sure that my name is also on the IAM report. Once it is, you can set this status to yes. So this basically just helps you track and make sure that your information that you're getting from your friends and family and churches is also the same as what the IAM office is getting. This sheet where you track your partners is where the information on this funding status monthly is coming from. So basically, every time you put information in here, it's going to be reflected on this summary sheet. So this is basically, you don't need to ever touch the sheet. This is just going to help you get a bigger picture. So if we're looking at this, we're 23% fundraised monthly. And that means that each week and month, we need to get $400. If we were to go back in and say that we became 50% fundraised, then that number would drop. This way, you have a very easy way of not only creating goals for yourself, both weekly and monthly, but also a way to track who you need to follow up with. You can see here on this donor status, we have one person who's uncontacted based on this sheet here. Two people that have been contacted, and then 4 thank you cards that we need to write. So definitely play around in here. You can change what you need to fit your specific fundraising needs, but we really just wanted to make it as a resource for you guys to help track your progress as you begin to fundraise and become a member in the field with IPRO American Ministries.